Very weird.
T3 Media.
Through the media.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of We Got Your Mail. This is the show where we take all of your questions, your comments, your concerns for the show, all your thoughts and feelings, your hopes and dreams, and we read them out to everybody for everybody to expose you to the world and just have a little fun while we do it, guys. So once again, I have the one and only, the crazy, wild, and funny Amy Newman. Hey, Amy, what's going on? I was trying something new.
The wild and crazy co-host.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
What a timely bit we're doing right now. What a.
She was like, "What the heck is going on, Chris? What?" She's like, "What was?"
I'm like,
that?
what year is it? Are we doing wild and crazy guys right now?
That's what I was going for. You got it. That was awesome.
I got it.
Well, like I said, guys, just put it in the box. Let us know what you guys think. You can go to t3medias.com/contact or at T3Medias on our social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, since that actually survived the whole, merger thing or whatever was going on with that. And just let us know your thoughts, concerns, and comments, and we'll answer it right here on the show. So without further ado, I think the lower third was glitching for a second, but I think we fixed it. Amy, would you mind helping me out, and let's go over these next set of questions?
Sure. We got a couple comments in response to the Bill Burr domestic violence reaction. MGL says, why be angry if your partner walks around with headphones on? I don't get it. Is it because I'm a guy? I honestly don't understand. Women really need attention 100% of the time and can't handle if a guy can't hear them for a while. Please, someone explain. I feel like it's a specific thing he does when she is mad at him to piss her off, right? I watched it once when I did the reaction, if I remember correctly, though, right?
Yeah,
it's
back when they were just dating.
Move.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was the video, and it was before they were married, when they were just dating, and she was upset about something, and he was just ignoring her and just playing his headphones, and as she was talking, he was laughing because it was sounding like she was saying the music that he was listening to, and just totally pissing her off. And every few seconds she would just swat him in the back of the head, and like 3 times until the headphones spent around in front of him. And I think he said something like he wanted to roll her up in her yoga mat and stuff her behind the couch and something like that. And,
to be clear, most women are not going to be angry if you're just putting headphones on. If you're in the middle of a fight and being a dick about it. Yeah. Also, James Smith, in response to that, says, it's funny because the violence was against a man, perfectly acceptable.
See, okay, now some of you guys make posts like that. What are you trying to say when you say stuff like that? You want to be back in that world where it was okay or acceptable when guys used to get away with being violent towards their wives? What does that say?
It is not okay for anyone to be violent to anybody. Any sort of domestic abuse is unacceptable. Bill Burr is obviously fine. He's obviously escalating a story and telling it for comedic effect. If I hear an actual story of domestic violence, I am not going to laugh at it. If he was standing up there going, my girlfriend beats me, I would not be laughing at it.
I never understand these types of comments from you guys, saying stuff like that on that reaction.
Yeah, I completely understand that there is an issue that men are often ignored or sort of
laughed at.
People sort of brush it off if men try to come forward with domestic violence. That is not what this bit is about. That is not what Bill Burr is talking about, I don't believe.
If you guys are thinking that we live in a world where women do not get arrested for domestic violence, it's like that situation where you don't pay attention to all the red Nissans out in the freeway until you're about to buy one. Then you just see them everywhere. Dude, trust me, guys. It happens more than you think. You're thinking in this little bubble because you don't see it, that it's not happening. It happens. Turn on that old episode of Cops.
That's true.
Women get arrested too. I like it. This world that you're making up doesn't exist. But let's move on. What's the next question? The next comment.
We had our discussion about Disney planning to focus on streaming and the Disney Plus service. Some of the comments include Aaron G saying, "You better pray that Trump loses next month in the election because there's no way in the world he's going to help the theaters and the movie industry. The majority of the people in Hollywood are against him, and he knows it. So the last thing he's going to want to try to do is help them out."
I agree. When I read that comment, I was like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, it's not even as an actress and as a person in the industry, I wouldn't put it like top 3 things I'm scared about, but you're probably not wrong. Just because there's like bigger, like literally the planet's dying, and he's like, science? He's not real. So.
Right after 2020, he's like, now it's time to stick it to those elite bastards in Hollywood.
I mean, he's very clearly been like, we're not helping California.
Yeah.
Like, we've asked, we need help with like wildfires and stuff, and he's been like,
rake your forests. Yeah. Rake your forest, Cali. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't keep our forests suitably clean.
Yeah.
Also in response, Juice Talkies says, not only theaters, but for physical media and catalog 4K movie transfers to disc. I'm an advocate for theaters as well as physical media. Just pray that other studios don't follow suit eventually, and hats off to Kevin Feige for preventing Disney from releasing Black Widow to streaming first. I mean, I think big scale stuff like Black Widow, they're never going to want to take the financial hit of putting that just on streaming. Right. There's just no way.
Right. I think those types of movies like Wonder Woman, we'll wait. We'll wait. It sucks that we got to wait 3 or 4. But look, we waited, 12? We're going to be waiting for almost 15 years for Avatar 2. Well, it sucks, but we'll get over it. But yeah, you guys are right. Physical media, though, was dead. Discs, those are dead.
Yeah. Aaron G also says, in response to Juice Talkies, well, Dan Loeb, a prominent Disney stakeholder, is trying to convince Disney to release Black Widow and the other finished unreleased Marvel movies on Disney+. It might eventually happen if things aren't better in the spring. These companies are struggling right now because of the pandemic, and you have these big blockbuster movies just sitting on the shelves collecting dust. Eventually, Disney will have to put these movies out some type of way.
Maybe I'm not laughing. You're not wrong. They put up millions of dollars to make these movies come out, and they want to make their money back on that investment. But when you said struggling, Kevin Feige has made Disney on the Marvel movies alone over $20 billion with the MCU movies. Out of 20 movies, $1 billion a piece is pretty much what they're making. So they're not struggling. I know what you meant.
Yeah, but they're floundering right now, I feel like, because you have, if you're looking at Disney, you have their amusement parks that are bringing in, like Disneyland is bringing in nothing. Disney World has to operate at partial capacity. Like, they do have these huge budget movies and nowhere to put them to get the kind of return on them they were expecting. I don't know if they're,
Okay, well, you're right on a Disney as a whole. Disney just purchased Fox, and that was a $70 billion purchase that they need to get that money back on. But all of these things, like when he said studio, I just kept my mind focused on the studio department. They're not struggling because of the money that all the returns from these movies, especially recently, brought them the billions of dollars that brought in. The parks, you're right, they're struggling because they're over the layoffs and they need people to come back. But if you think about it compartmentally, so this part is struggling where this part is still booming. Disney Plus is booming, but the Disneyland is struggling. Yeah, and then on top of that, they did just spend $70 billion on Fox. So
I think here's the other thing. I don't know. I know the actual theater chains are worried right now, and I get that. I'm not trying to downplay that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like people keep talking as if the second we get things under control with, a vaccine and or, treatment, there will be a time when this pandemic is in the rearview mirror. And when that happens, people are going to be so excited. People are going to rush out to theaters. People are going to want to see stuff on the big screen. People are, I feel like we act like this is how things will be for the rest of all time. And it's like, even if we lose a theater chain in this, something will pick up the mantle. People will want to go back to normal. People are going back to normal now.
That's true. Yeah. Which is what had this pandemic lasting longer than it should have. When They didn't let the numbers go as low as they should have before trying to. They just let it go down a little bit, and then it's like, oh, everything should be open now. And
people are so anxious to. But when people talk like, this is the end of people going to movies forever, it's like, no, it's not. People are so stubborn. Are you kidding me?
I mean, AMC they're hurting. They need. To
Yeah.
get some
No,
money.
I'm not saying we won't have some casualties, but from a business perspective. But
We'll figure it out.
anyways,
All right. What's next?
we have more Bill Burr chat in response to the Bill Burr lotion reaction. Immy says, "Black don't crack is real. I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped by the police who assumed I'm a high schooler cutting school. I'm 32.
You lying. Let me see that ID. I mean, I believe you, Immy. I mean, believe it or not, I'm 40 years young. And look at me.
That is impressive. Nice. Very good. Very
That was
impressive.
a whole lot of sexy.
I'm white and will age like milk, so, it's fine. You put me in the sun, it's just like wrinkle the next day, like, oh great.
Have you ever seen that show? Is it not Blackish, but it's a Netflix show. That's kind of like was it Black AF? Have you seen that show yet?
No, is it good?
There was one episode where a white guy, his white assistant was like, I can't go out on the beach with you guys. I have to get my suntan, well, not suntan, what's it called? The sunblock on and stuff. And he got offended. He's like, really? The sun? This is the thing that you guys are afraid of? This is the thing that gives life to the planet Earth. And it literally kills these people. And they're the ones running the country. That was just funny.
True. Also, Rick Ward says, I would like to see you check out Ralphie May. Noted.
I've never heard of Ralphie May. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him. I'm not super familiar, so.
Okay, there you go.
I'll check him out.
Let's check him out.
Do what I can. We got a back catalog, but I will try to start ticking off more.
Maybe we'll put it on the Patreon.
In response to your Pearl Jam Live MTV Unplugged reaction, ibizanfever says, Eddie once said that unrequited love actually creates stronger feelings than being in love itself. The song is about an unrequited love, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Like I said, I was like listening to the blues. I was like, I felt that pain from the screen. I was like, man, I don't think this story has a happy ending. Unrequited love, apparently. You're right. I concur.
To our We Got Your Mail last week, Kevin Garcia says, also check out Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
I still haven't. Have you watched that movie? Those.
No, but the covers of the books really messed me up as a kid. Not even the books. I couldn't read them, but the covers.
The covers of those old books. Oh, that was my age. I was in elementary school when those books were first coming out. This was before Twitter and stuff. These books were like, oh, did you get the new? What's it called? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
I remember when part 2 came out, and it was like, ooh, it was crazy. Those were the books, man. Those the girl with the missing toe. Freaked me out.
Bedlum Productions says, love your reactions. Watch the Ricky Gervais show.
Check out the Patreon.
Do what I can. Thank you for the suggestions. It does help because there's so much stuff out there and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jonah Sanders says, I too cast my vote for Bale as Thrawn.
Thrawn is a Star Wars character. He's an
I was
alien.
like, I'm reading words, but don't know. Okay.
He's a Star Wars character who works for the Empire, the evil Empire, with Darth Vader. He is an alien, which is very rare. Usually only humans could be in the Empire, but he's an alien. He's a tactician, very smart. He is able to deduce his enemies' movements and ideas and plans and figure out where they might be hiding based on their art. He's always like, he can walk up to Darth Vader, the scariest guy in the universe, and insult him to his face and get away with it. The only person in the world that can do it. And he does it in this subtle way where he's insulting you where you don't even realize you're being insulted, because he says stuff like what Thrawn, do you think that's a bad idea? Do you hate that idea? And he goes, perhaps. perhaps not.
Sweaty nerddom. In response to Bill Burr's "No Reason to Hit a Woman" reaction, James Merlaut, sorry if I said that wrong,
Merlaut.
says Merlaut.
Merlaut. Probably.
I feel like I just did that thing in The Producers where they're like Jacques Lapidus and they like whisper his name. It's like Jack Lapidus. Like,
my name is Jack Tibedayak.
Yeah. At 7:05, I'm assuming this is in response to the heckler in that bit. Burr actually misheard her, and she's lucky he did because he would have ripped her apart with his words. Instead of answer him, she said, because it's her right.
I went back and I listened to it. I don't know if you want to like pause and right here and try to pull that up real quick, but
do you hear it? Is that what she says?
I thought I heard both. Now maybe it's because they put these words in my head. Now
it's our Laurel and Yanny.
I turned it up and I listened to it on my phone, and it sounded like she said both of them. She's like, "You need to answer him," and then he goes, "What? It's her, because it's her right." And he didn't hear that part. He heard it when she said, "Answer him." But if she did say that, James, you're right. If Bill Burr would have heard that heckler say, "It's her right to talk," Bill would have ripped her up so bad.
I can't imagine paying to go to a Bill Burr show and being like, I'm gonna show him.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him after I have a couple of drinks in. Yeah, I'm gonna give this guy a piece of mind. But it happens all the damn time. And Bill Burr has funny stories about that on his podcast too. He talks about it a lot. But yeah, but it kind of sounded like, you're right. It kind of sounded like she said it's her right to question him, or I guess chastise. I forgot what it was about. Like I think she was chastising a woman, like chastising her husband or something like that. I don't know.
In response to watching the Goonies movie for the first time, Ryan Sullivan says, "Have you seen Innerspace? I love that movie."
Yes, I have. I mentioned on the comments, it's easier for me to tell you guys movies that I haven't seen versus the ones versus you guys trying to guess what I haven't seen. So I put a list of movies that I haven't seen. The next one's like the Indiana Jones movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There's a lot of movies that I haven't seen, but Innerspace is one of them. Have you ever seen Innerspace?
I have not seen Innerspace.
Maybe Amy might watch it for the first time. It's very good. Martin Short is in the movie, and Kevin Spacey. Not Kevin Spacey. Not Kevin Spacey. What's his? Oh my God! It's one of those situations where if I don't look it up real quick, I'm gonna be mad at myself. It's Martin Short and Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid. He shrinks. It's an experiment where he shrinks and he goes into Martin Short's body. He's inside of Martin Short's body. And I did
lose you for part of this. You might want to just start the Innerspace.
Oh, good. Oh, okay, good. I was looking up the movie anyway. So okay. Innerspace is a movie starring Martin Short and Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid is like a scientist or like a astronaut or something. And instead of going into outer space, it was like a Honey I Shrunk the Kid. They shrunk him, and I think they were gonna put him inside of like an animal, but somehow it got inside of Martin Short.
Exactly. I do love Martin Short. He's one of my favorites.
It's Martin Short that realizes that he now has this vessel floating around somewhere in his body, and he has to survive long enough to figure out how to get him out before the machine that he's traveling in there, the shrink ray wears off and he expands and kills Martin Short. So it's just about him floating around in Martin Short's body and stuff, and they have to figure out how to communicate and stuff like that. It's really funny. So
it sounds fun.
Maybe a first time watching with Amy Newman.
We can do. And then in response to NCIS actors nearly killed by cops, not permitted to film fake robbery, Jonn Doe, probably his real name, says, "Really? Oh, come on. The cameras, lighting, sound, and film crew weren't enough of a clue for the local shopkeepers. You're telling me a studio that's spending at least $1 million more per episode cheaped out by not getting permits or proper notifications? You people have been had."
I'm going to let you comment on that. What do you think about that?
I mean, all I know is the article I read. I don't know a ton about the filming procedures of NCIS. it sounds like if it was, according to the lawsuit, that it was a pretty guerrilla style shoot, which I assume would mean they didn't have a ton of lights and sound, and if it was a more pared down shoot for whatever reason, I could see it happening. I could also see, I guess it could be these guys lying. It just seems like such an insane story to make up that I don't know why you try to take someone to court on something that would be so easy to prove of just, here was the paperwork we got. So, I don't know.
And let's not forget, this isn't recent. This happened, we're hearing about it now, but this happened, I believe, a couple years ago.
I could be totally wrong, but I don't know how I've been had in this.
Yeah, actually, I censored it. He said, I call BS, and then he said, you guys have been had.
You can take that up with the news article or the people involved in the lawsuit. I don't write the news, but I just talk about it.
I don't write the news, I just create it. But I commented to him. This was one of those comments where I had to kind of calm down before I responded, because he might have been right. I looked it up. For one, I thought there's no way in the world it cost $1 million to make an episode of that show. Turns out he's right. It cost a couple million. Like some episodes cost $15 million to make. I was like, that surprised me. Wow, so he was right about that.
That is, I guess, makes sense, but yeah, it feels high.
You pay the I guess the salaries and things like that. So but you're right.
Yeah, I'm sure you got people on that show at this point.
But the reason why I believe the story is because the police showed up. And if they did have a permit in place, and if the shopkeeper on the other side was all he saw was the guns and the mask and thought a robbery was happening, he calls 911. I think the store across the street is being robbed. Dispatch already knows. No, they have a permit. They're filmed. They would already have been informed whenever any kind of call comes in, because when you're shooting a scene, maybe you might use props, maybe you might use explosions. People might freak out and call 911. That's why you get your permit in place. Dispatch already knows not to send the cops because they know they're shooting a movie or a TV show. So the fact that the cops showed up is clue that somebody did drop the ball. And the fact that
someone goofed up, either the cops goofed up by showing up and escalating the situation, someone on the production end goofed up, or someone's trying to pull some kind of scam. But again, that feels like a really weird.
But it wouldn't be. But even if somebody was pulling a scam, it wouldn't be the cops' fault that showed up, because if they did have their permit in place, then the studio in that lawsuit would be like, we put the permit in, then they're free and clear. That's it. That's all they would say. That hasn't happened. The cops did show up, so the only logical explanation is you didn't get your permit. And if the police department says we never got a permit, that's game over. That they're gonna win that lawsuit. So that's just, I don't feel like I've been had. But anyway,
if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. I will not lose sleep at night if it turns out that story was wrong.
I'm just glad nobody was killed.
And William Smith says, do you think it's Will Smith? Says, I've seen lots of reaction videos, and this lady has the best reactions, the way she laughs. Thanks for doing the vids you've done. Looking forward to more. I mean, from the Fresh Prince himself, that's high praise. Thank you.
Look out, Jada.
No, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I am glad you enjoy them.
We love them, and like I said, there's a new one coming out this week. Look out for that reaction to what is it, Mike Epps? A little more
yes.
Amy reaction coming your way. So yeah,
we got you. We're doing what we can.
Was that it? That was the last one.
That was it.
All right.
That was the whole enchilada, you might say.
Once again, thank you guys for watching another episode of We Got Your Mail. Remember, send those comments in. We want to hear them. Put them in the box to let us know your thoughts, your comments, concerns, questions, anything you want to share with us. You can always do that at t3medias.com/contact, or you can add us at T3Medias on our social media. Oh, sorry, I faded to black by accident. I should have put that. And our Facebook, Instagrams, Twitter, and at T3Medias, and just let us know what you guys think.
We're trying the Sopranos thing with these episodes now, where we just fade to black
for no
and stop talking and play.
Yeah. No, that was my bad. Sorry guys. But that's the show, guys. Like I said, keep them coming. We want to hear them, and we'll see you on next week's episode of We Got Your Mail.
everybody, and a big thank you to everybody who's been subscribing, engaging, making this community even better, able to commit even more time to it, and we got some exciting levels and benefits for you.
If you want to get first access to new shows or first access to the shows that we do on the regular YouTube channel, to get exclusive first looks at anything that we do, remember guys, it helps the channel out, it helps us create better content for you, and it helps us engage with you guys even more.
If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe to the channel and please drop a like on this video. It really does help us. Also, don't forget you can turn on notifications so you don't miss a single review, react, why is that trending, or we got your mail.